Hello SLS 1101 students, and welcome to the video walkthrough for Module 1 Assessment 2. If you're ever not sure which assignments are due for the week, be sure to either ask your instructor, but you can also check in over here on your toolbar for your schedule of activities, and that will always keep you up to date in regards to which assignments are due by which due dates. So if we look at that now, and if it doesn't open automatically, you can click this link here. That will download your schedule of activities, and these will vary by instructor, but if you scroll down you'll be able to see what assignments are due on any particular week. Having a look at the second week of the class for this particular walkthrough video, we're looking at Module 1 Assignment 2, which is complete and submit the Reflecting on a Successful College Experience assignment, and for this particular class that assignment is due on September 10th, and that will vary class to class, so be sure to check with your instructor. Having a look at the assignment itself, let's go back into the classroom. We're still in Module 1 as denoted by that list we just saw, so we will check out the Module 1 folder. We have our overview still that we saw last week in the class, the study activities and the assessments. Just a reminder that all of your graded assignments will always come from the assessments section, and all of your extra help resources and the items that you'll be referring to in your work come from the study activities. But you never actually submit the study activities, they're just reflected upon when you submit your assessments. So let's have a look at the assessments now. We covered Module 1, Assignment 1 in another video, so let's scroll down to Module 1 Assessment 2. This is the Reflecting on a Successful College Experience assignment, and have a look. It says directions. Throughout Module 1 we have explored various topics which will help us contribute to a successful college experience. The following is a list of characteristics that promote success outlined in this module. So Module 1 deals with Module 1, Chapter 1 of your textbook, and the main highlights from those sections are successful intelligence, growth mindset, emotional intelligence, academic integrity, learned optimism, self-sufficiency, responsibility and planning, self-control, and risk-taking. So those are the items that are highlighted in Chapter 1 related to a successful college experience. So keeping those items in mind, have a look at the three parts that make up the assignment. Part 1. Review the characteristics that promote success on the list above and determine the top 3 characteristics that you think will have the greatest impact on your college experience. So Part 1 is pretty self-explanatory. You have a look at this list of items, think about it, and pick the 3 that you think is going to have the largest impact on your particular success in the college overall. Move on down to Part 2. Explain the top 3 characteristics that you've selected using evidence from the study activities. So that's where the 3 items that you select, you go into more detail in regards to what those items represent. What do they mean? And you want to be sure that you use direct evidence from the study activities to display that you're understanding the content at its fullest potential by going through the class and going through the activities or taking notes during any lectures or anything along those lines for face-to-face classes. So explain those, and I would recommend you explain that in 3 to 5 sentences, maybe even 6 sentences, but nothing less than 3, I would say. And then lastly, Part 3 for this assignment. Part 3 says evaluate each of your selections by providing examples to justify these as the top 3 characteristics that you'll have the greatest impact on your success in college. So Part 1 is identify the 3. Part 2 is explain the 3 items using sources from the class, the study activities, and we'll see those in just one moment. And Part 3 now is the how. How are they going to help you be successful in college? And again, I would recommend at least 3 to 5 sentences for each of your characteristics that you identify. So if you identify the first 3, give me 3 to 5 sentences that detail how successful intelligence will help you through the college experience. Separately, 3 to 5 sentences on growth mindset or emotional intelligence, whichever 3 that you decide are going to be those 3 that have the biggest influence in your particular case. So that being said, one of the first things you should always look at, and one of the last items you should always look at, is the rubric down below. Let's pull it up now. The rubric for this assignment is built into 3 different rows. One for Part 1, which is worth a total of 5 possible points. One for Part 2, a little bit more work there, so that one's 10 possible points. And the same for Part 3, also 10 possible points. I just want to highlight to you the difference between full credit versus partial credit. For the first part is pretty self-explanatory. The student fully answers part 1. You provide all 3 of the top characteristics related to student success. So you pick your 3 characteristics, you're going to get your 5 points for part 1. Part 2 requires a little bit more work. Not only are you identifying the 3 characteristics, but you're explaining them, and most importantly, you're providing those specific references to the Module 1 study activity. So refer back to things you saw in Chapter 1. If you're taking the class face-to-face, refer back to what jumped out at you in the lectures. If you're online taking the class, go back to those study activities and refer to those and explain what these different characteristics mean from that standpoint. That's the difference between full credit here and partial credit over here. And then for evaluate part 3 here, also worth 10 possible points, provide specific examples and rationale to justify each of the 3 selections from part 1. Versus the students provide responsibility that are generalized and not specific. So the big difference between partial credit and full credit here is being specific for part 3. So keep that in mind, and once you complete your work, be sure to check back with this rubric here to make sure that you covered all your bases for your full 25 points on this assignment. Going back one last time to the class, let's just have a look at the study activities that make up the rest of Module 1. Module 1 study activities. All of these studies activities will really go with this Module 1 Assessment 2. They can all feed into Assessment 2 because Assessment 2 covers the entire module, essentially. So Chapter 1 will highlight some of the information. The videos that you'll see on the top of this page here will also go further into the information. You've got a couple of self-assessments you can take, one online and one from the textbook. You can reference those in the assignment, and then also the Emotional Intelligence video Study Activity 7. Scroll down the page, they'll be in that exact same order. Take notes if need be, write down anything that jumps off the page to you, but be sure that you're referencing. You don't have to reference every one and every answer, but you want to be sure that your answers carry water, so they hold their own water. You have justification and rationale for why you're answering these questions the way you did. So keep all that in mind. When you're ready to submit, the process will be similar to the first activity. You go to the assessments folder. You'll click the title of the assignment that you're working on. In this case here, we're highlighting Module 1, Assessment 2, Reflecting on Successful College Experience. Click it. There is no fillable form for this document, so you'll need to create this on your own using Microsoft Word. Part 1, report your answers. Part 2, report your responses. Part 3, do the same thing over again and then save it, but there is no form to fill out for this assignment. So you'll create your own form. You will browse your computer and upload it. Click Submit. Highlight the I agree to my papers on the global reference database, and then hit submit, and you'll be good to go for Module 1 study activity or assessment 2. I hope that helps, and if you have any questions, definitely reach out to your instructor. Thanks.